Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of No Melanin Talks. I had the bright idea to try and film outside because I just wanted to try it and it was a bright idea. So I don't know how well this will be executed, but today we will be talking about what it's like growing up in a family, and not just any family, but in a Black family when you have albinism. For the longest time, I've always known of stories of people who had albinism saying how difficult it was for them and their families and just in life in general to be around people who were melanated that treated them as though they were less than simply because they didn't have any melanin. See, I told y'all this was gonna be a problem. Why did I come outside? I won't sit back and act like it's not true or that it didn't happen or that even in my own life that I didn't face similar things from family members within my own family. I won't do that because it's true and it deserves a discussion because it happens and it can make you as the individual feel less than. It can hurt you, especially because, as I said earlier, it's coming from people who are your bloodline. They're your family. They're supposed to have your back like that. When everybody else is against you, they are the ones who are supposed to be for you. And when you're already confused about certain things with your condition anyway, if you have family members who try to put you in a box, or they belittle you, they bully you, they say nasty, ugly, rude comments about you, or they say it to other people and you hear about it later, it can have a very narrowing effect on your life. And it can really put you in a place where you don't feel confident and you don't feel comfortable stepping out because, again, you have these family members who are acting this way towards you. They say things like you're white or that you're a ghost and, oh, it's funny, you should take it lightly, but you don't take it lightly because it really does affect you in a way. And a lot of times these things can be brought about due to the difference in skin tone. And you don't really notice that as a child, but as you get older, you begin to notice that skin tone plays a very huge role in the Black community. You also have to understand the placement of colorism and how those who are melanated, deeply melanated at that, have been treated because of the fact that the skin is melanated, is deeply melanated. So colorism and skin tone differences, light skin versus chocolate skin, is all a very big deal in the Black community. And it has a lot of deep-rooted issues. It has a lot of hurt. It has a lot of pain. It has a combustion of things involved in it. And when you put it in the scope where we are involved, it can make us feel a certain type of way about not being accepted or not being loved by those within our community, not necessarily knowing the backdrop or the background, because when someone says something hurtful to you, you're not thinking about how they were treated or what was done towards them or what was said towards them. You're thinking about how they made you feel. So that in turn causes hurt, and it just keeps reproducing, and the cycle continues and it continues and it continues. So thankfully for me, I was able to have a strong family support system as far as like my siblings, my sisters were concerned. My parents played a big role, just making sure that I was grounded in knowing who I was. But it was hard. It was really hard. And so when you talk about being treated indifferently or treated with any type of animosity, yeah, it was the case for me and my sisters. It was the case. And so I say this in this message because I want to encourage you, if you are an albino or a person with albinism and you are Black, it just takes you sitting back, understanding the key points that I mentioned earlier. And then for other people, it's not even so much that, it's just some people like to be ignorant. Some people like to be mean. Some people like to be ugly. I can honestly say for myself, for as many people who were ugly like that towards me, whether it was in my family or outside of my family, I had just as many people, Black people, who loved on me, who cared for me, who embraced me and told me I was beautiful, and so much more. You have to learn how to just separate the bad from the good in those instances, and it's not easy because I had a huge complex issue when I was a teenager due to the fact that I was treated this way, mostly by people within my community. But at the same time, I also had to make a decision about whether I was going to stay there and stand there, or whether I was going to grow and evolve and understand that some people just like being the way that they are. They don't want to get help. They don't want to get healing. I want to end with you knowing that you are beautiful and that you are special, and that no one can take away who you are, because God made you and me and you this way on purpose, for a purpose, to do great things with little to no melanin in our hair, skin, and eyes. Because when you know who made you, when you know whose you are and why you are here, you just move differently, and you don't really have time to embrace negativity, especially from people who, like I said, they enjoy being in the pit that they're in. And prayerfully one day they'll wake up and choose to do something differently with their life. But if they choose to stay there, you are not obligated to remain in that pit with them. You have the option to stand up and move on and do something better with your life, because just because that's their decision to be that way, it doesn't mean that you have to be that way. My sisters and I, we have stories for days, experiences for days. So when you look at this video and you see me talking about the things that I've talked about, then you should already know that God, if he did it for me, if he did it for us, he can do it for you too. I came out with a blog post about 9 years ago now, 8 years ago this year, where I just detailed our story in a synopsis of how we were treated, how we were done, how others acted towards us. It's all there. At the same time, God is there too. And when God is a part of your story, he takes that pen and he writes out the beautiful masterpiece that you will become. Even where you are now, this is not the end. You have another place that you're going to that is even greater and better. And when you realize that all things are working together for your good, not just the good things, not just the positive comments and things that people say, but the negative things as well, you realize I ain't got to really sweat it like that, because I know God's got me. And another thing that I'll leave you with is this. Sometimes people are just haters. Sometimes people are jealous because you're beautiful. A lot of people wish they could be this uniquely beautiful if they really were honest with themselves. They wish that they could look like us. So instead of complimenting you and say, hey, I love that, you're beautiful, you look nice, they choose to hate, they choose to say negative things, they choose to try to hurl insults at you so that you won't see the beautiful person that you are. And that's what I had to figure out. You have to realize the method behind the words, not just the word that's being used, but the reasoning behind it. A lot of times it's just hate. So just remember that. And like I said, this is a conversation that is much needed, and it's so many levels and so much depth to it, which is why, like I said, I introduced it in the way that I did, because a lot of factors come into play when we have these discussions. But as long as you know whose you are and who you are, that truly is all that matters. Not the sun trying to take my shine. Don't take my shine, son. Don't take my shine. It's time for me to go, but I love y'all so much. I hope that y'all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to y'all later on another episode of No Melanin Talks. Bye. Oh, and I totally forgot to talk about forgiveness. You have to forgive as well. Remember to forgive, because somebody got to forgive you. We're not all perfect, and we all have the ability to do things, whether intentionally or unintentionally, towards others, and it can hurt people too. So just always remember that you do need to forgive, because forgiveness, as you've already heard several people say, forgiveness is for you, not so much for them, but it's for you, so that you can be healed, whole, restored. Did I say whole? Oh, whole, restored, and all of those beautiful things. You have to learn how to forgive. I have forgiven. So please, let me encourage you to forgive too. We don't want to have a bad session where we just sit in the mud and throw sticks all day long. We don't want to make mud houses. We want to make mansions. We want to make a lot of stuff out of health, out of wholeness, out of healing, out of love, out of prosperity, out of peace. Not hate, not discord, not confusion. Okay? Now for real, bye.